This is homework for Tuesday the 19th. This is for students who received the worksheet that has 4 different graphs on it, and your goal is to make the equations for the lines. So the first problem looks like this, and I gave you the point 0, 3 and negative 2, 1. So this is to extend the practice you were doing on Desmos on the computers, where we want you to take these 2 points and prove what the equation is, or find the equation using the 2 points. So I set the points up as a table. I have 0, 3 and negative 2, 1. And then I simply do my carets. From 3 to 1 is subtracting 2. From 0 to negative 2 is subtracting 2. Then I have to do rise divided by run, or this is the change in y divided by the change in x, which is negative 2 over 2, negative 2, which equals positive 1. So this I found is my slope, and the only other thing I need is my y-intercept, which I gave to you because I gave you the point when x is 0, y is 3. So this is your y-intercept. So I can write my equation. Y equals, you can either say 1x or just x, and then plus 3 your y-intercept. Okay, pretty easy. Let's go to the next one. Okay, again, I'm going to take my 2 points and set them up in a table. Okay, I'm going to add my carets. From negative 2 to 4, I'm going down 2. From negative 2 to positive 2, I'm going up 4. So again, I do rise, negative 2 divided by run, 4, negative 2 over 4. So I'm not going to turn this into a decimal because it's better to keep it in fraction form, but I can reduce it to negative 1/2. And I know for sure it's negative because I read my line from left to right and it's falling. So I know my slope is negative. So I have my slope of negative 1/2, but I need to find my y-intercept. We can look at the graph and see that it's crossing this y-axis at negative 3. But I want to prove to you, I want to show you how I can prove you that it is negative 3. So I'm going to go back to the table and I'm going to change it to where I can add in 0. So I have negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2. So I'm just expanding the table to show 0, because in order to show the y-intercept I have to find when x is 0, what is y. I'm going to use my slope to do this. My slope means that for every time the x is going up by 1, my y is going down by 1/2. Okay, so if this is going up by 1, this is going down by 1/2. So if I want to work backwards, that means I have to add the 1/2. So I'm going to go like this, add 1/2, which would give me negative 3.5. Okay, again, working backwards, because this is going up by 1. That means this is going down by 1/2. So I want to work backwards. This is going to go back by 1. This is going to go adding 1/2. Add 1/2. That gets me to negative 3. And there I am with my y-intercept of negative 3 like the graph shows. So I can write my equation. Y equals negative 1/2 x minus 3. A lot of you are still writing plus minus 3. We don't need to do that. You don't need 2 operations next to each other. Just write minus 3. Okay, next one. Again, set up my table. I'm just using points left to right, so from here to here. And I'm going to think ahead on this one. I know I'm going to have to try to find my y-intercept. And like I just showed you on the last problem where I expanded my table here, I'm going to think ahead on the next problem and set my table up that way. So I'm going to go from negative 2, negative 5. So that's this point. And I'm going to set it up all the way to the positive 2, negative 2. So negative 1, 0, 1, 2. Okay, now to find my slope, I'm simply going to run my carets from the negative 5 to the negative 2, which is going up 3. And then from negative 2 to positive 2 is going up 4. So that means my slope is 3/4. And I know it's positive because my line from left to right is rising. So I'm going to use that 3/4 to find my y-intercept. I can look on the graph and I can guess. It might be like negative 3.4, but we're going to use the table to get the most accurate y-intercept. So 3/4 means every time this is going up 1, my y is going up by 3/4 each time. So if I start up here, negative 5 plus 3/4 gives me negative 4 1/4. Basically, if you're having a hard time with the fractions, I did on my calculator 5 plus 7.5 equals 4.25. And I know that 0.25 is the same as 1/4, right? So then 4 1/4 plus 3/4 again gets me negative 3 2/4, which is the same as 3 1/2. So let's look at our table. That is about at 3 1/2. So I know that my table, the work on my table is pretty accurate because that's about 3 1/2. Okay, so I have both things I need to write my equation. Y equals 3/4 x minus 3 2/4. Or you could say minus 3 1/2 if you'd like. Okay, last one. Again, set up my table. I have the 0.34 and 6.3. Notice that I left some room up top because I know I'm going to have to work backwards to 0 to find my y-intercept. Yes, the graph looks pretty clear that it's at 5, but I'm going to prove it on my table. Okay, so first let's find the slope. From 4 to 3 is going down 1. From 3 to 6 is going up 3. Rise divided by run is negative 1/3. I know my slope is negative because from left to right it's falling. So I have my slope. Now, on my table, this one's kind of easy because to get to 0 on the x side, I have to minus 3. And from the numbers I already have, every time I'm going up 3 on the x, my y is going back 1. So I simply have to go opposite operation and add 1. Sorry. And 4 plus 1 is 5. And looking at my graph, my y-intercept is 5. So let's write our equation. Y equals negative 1/3 x plus 5. Alright, that's all the homework for tonight. See you tomorrow.